Good day to everyone. Let me thank Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for convening this summit as president of the Climate Vulnerable Finance Summit V20. As we all know, the climate crisis is already breaking havoc. Once-in-a-lifetime disasters are becoming annual catastrophes. Extreme weather events are striking more frequently, and vulnerable countries have little time to recover, much less to adapt for one debacle to another. Unfortunately, the poor quality, quantity, and accessibility of climate finance is not helping us, especially when it comes to adaptation. At this point, we don't think anyone can say that 100 billion a year is a fair response to the urgency that the climate crisis is demanding from us. Around 80% of the resources mobilized are loans, a modality which not only worsens our financial burden, but at the same time increases the climate vulnerability of developing countries. We need more grant-based finance, and starting in 2025, support must move from billions to trillions. Multilateral development banks and financial institutions must act accordingly. Climate vulnerable and financially stressed nations do not have the luxury of waiting 1, 2, or more years to access the limited funds that are available. Simpler and faster processes are urgent. If finance is to become an enabler of the transformations required to achieve the Paris Agreement goals, then no more than 6 months should pass between the submission of a project and the first delivery of funds. We call upon the financial sector to improve its processes, as well as the mechanisms and tools available to provide better financial support. Climate vulnerability and risk are not just about how we are being disproportionately affected and our urgent needs. It's also about accordingly recognizing and rewarding our adaptation and mitigation efforts. Yet, this has not received that much attention. Financial institutions and credit rating agencies should start to look closely on honest efforts for tackling climate change. Climate-responsible countries like Costa Rica have invested billions over the decades to contribute to the planet's health. But our efforts remain undervalued and not sufficiently acknowledged. What we have given back to the world has not been rewarded accordingly. Even though nature is priceless, I am sure that financial institutions and credit agencies can put an adequate value to the ecosystemic goods and services that the protected forests and oceans of Costa Rica and other countries provide, and thus reward our continued actions in nature protection, climate change, and nature-based solutions with better quantity and quality of finance and with more just credit ratings. I mentioned earlier that climate finance from developed countries is important for our success. However, no amount of public climate finance will ever be enough. There needs to be a radical and fast transformation in the way we invest all our resources, not just the ones earmarked for climate. The greening of our financial system is urgent, both international and domestic ones. We need to take climate change into account in macroeconomic policy, fiscal planning, budgeting, public investment management, procurement practices, and insurance. The policies and practices of export agencies, public investment funds, pension funds, national budgets, and expenditures should be made compatible with the three goals of the Paris Agreement. Costa Rica has a very concrete proposal to accelerate this. If we really want to have a strong position before global financial institutions and developed countries, then all CVF members should commit to the complete and quick elimination of all fossil fuel subsidies. It will be increasingly challenging to justify asking for more financial support to tackle climate change if we ourselves don't act accordingly by addressing this crucial issue that continues to undermine our climate efforts. Fossil fuel subsidies cripple our efforts to address the climate crisis and diminish the efficacy of climate action. They act against sustainability, are all inefficient, fiscally costly, and are often socially regressive, mainly benefiting higher income groups and failing to help the poor. I hope my country's views may encourage constructive discussions on improving climate finance before, during, and beyond COP26. Thank you.